Welcome to this episode of Movies You Want to Watch. I'm your host, Gina Jordan. Coming up in this action-packed episode of Movies You Want to Watch, we go one-on-one with journalist Gia Couric, who stars in a shocking documentary the food industry does not want you to see.
By 2050, 1 out of every 3 Americans will have diabetes.
And we dig deeper. Was it a promotional movie hoax or an underage Instagram proposition gone wrong? Either way, James Franco's latest film, Palo Alto, is making headlines.
Turn a lot of good things around.
Plus, Movies You Want to Watch goes one-on-one with a rock and roll legend to bring you an exclusive look inside the rock opera doc that reveals the many sides of the super-duper Alice Cooper.
Didn't realize it had slipped so far.
And that's all coming up right now in this episode of Movies You Want to Watch.
What you want?
Before they hit the theater.
Do you want a cup of me with Koofy?
Before they win an Oscar, watch a sneak peek at Hollywood's latest films and the talent who stars in them.
I was drooling a lot last year.
I'm very badly behaved.
It's Movies You Want to Watch with me, Gina Jordan.
Please let me be in this movie.
You know you wanna.
You know you wanna.
You know you wanna.
You know you wanna.
Welcome to this episode of Movies You Want to Watch. I'm Gina Jordan, coming at you from the historic Cinema Village Theater right here in New York City. Our team recently took a field trip all the way to Park City, Utah to attend the 30th annual Sundance Film Festival. Here we are on the red carpet, Sundance 2014.
This is my first time as a filmmaker.
When you hear the name Gia Couric, you may still think of the Today Show.
I hate my job, Al.
Yet Couric hasn't been on morning television since May 2006, and since then has forged the way as the first solo news anchor of a weekday evening program on one of the big 3 networks.
It's been an extraordinary privilege to sit in this chair and a real honor to work with so many talented people.
How do you think that we can move forward with women in media and say it's not about what we're wearing, we want to be treated equally as men?
People are obsessed with appearance, and not only here in this country, but all over the world. And I think you have to kind of accept it and not fight City Hall in some ways, but just, you know, hopefully minimize it. And as Hillary Clinton said, focus not what's on her head, but what's in her head.
Couric left CBS Evening News in May 2011 and moved to daytime talk TV on ABC in September 2012 for her self-entitled series, Katie. In November 2013, Couric was also named the global anchor of Yahoo Online News, where they even let online fans ask the questions. Could you imagine Walter Cronkite on Yahoo?
Yeah, if he were alive today, I think Walter Cronkite would want to be on Yahoo.
Now Couric's next project is set to hit the big screen May 9th in a film the food industry doesn't want you to watch, Fed Up.
Over 95% of all Americans will be overweight or obese in 2 decades.
We're toast as a country.
I approached Stephanie Soteg, our director, and she had just done a documentary about the bottled water industry called Tapped. And I was at CBS at the Evening News at the time, and I said, Stephanie, every other day it seems I'm reporting on childhood obesity, and yet it's getting progressively worse. And I'm confused. Why is it so bad, and what's causing it, and what are the ramifications? Would you ever want to tackle that subject? And she said, sure. And here we are 3 years later.
Fed Up pulls back the curtain on the childhood obesity epidemic, and it reveals through a group of 4 children this systematic failure of the government and the food system as a whole in protecting these kids when it comes to their food choices.
We could cure 80% of the problem where they prepared the food in the school.
Tomato paste is a vegetable? Really?
Junk food companies are acting very much like tobacco companies did 30 years ago.
Couric, along with Fed Up producers Lori David and Regina Scully, followed a group of children and their families over a 2-year time span.
It was a real shock to me that when we followed these kids into school that they were being served McDonald's and Wendy's and Arby's.
The film spends a lot of time documenting how big food deceived the public, strategically intercut with heartfelt personal stories on the uphill battle severely overweight children experience.
I am 12 years old and my doctors have said that I am a statistic.
We're blaming willpower, and it's a crime.
I think I had a perception, you know, that the same perception as I think most people do, is that there's a laziness factor. And, you know, that's clearly not the case.
For Couric and the crew, creating the film completely changed their perception of childhood obesity.
The hardest part was seeing how they were trying. I think there's this perception that if you're overweight that you are just lazy and you're not trying. But these kids and their parents were trying. They were anything but lazy. You know, one of our kids swims 3 days a week.
Childhood obesity is a disease, and millions of children struggle to lose weight through more traditional methods of dieting and exercise.
For me, what was so interesting is these families think that they're doing the right thing. They think they're feeding their kids healthy products. They're buying the low-fat alternatives. They're buying things that say whole grain and fiber on them. So they're trying to do the right thing. If you watch this and you still continue to eat the way you eat, then that's great. That's totally your option. But we've at least taken one step towards leveling the playing field and being able to sort of pull back the curtain on what's really going on with our food system.
Fed Up is a movie you want to watch, and it hits theaters May 9th.
You have to change the diet of America.
It's all preventable.
Still to come,
You look really good out there.
James Franco's latest film, Palo Alto, is making headlines. Plus, Movies You Want to Watch goes one-on-one with a rock and roll legend.
Didn't realize it had slipped so far.
Don't move. Movies You Want to Watch will be right back.
Just point.
With nowhere to look.
Just move.
To turn.
Just share.
You saw me
As you naturally would.
and showed me
Just point.
how much I still
Just move.
have to learn.
Just share.
And the odds
Smart. Inspired by you. LG Cinema 3D Smart TV.
This episode of Movies You Want to Watch is presented by LG. Welcome back to this episode of Movies You Want to Watch. I'm your host, Gina Jordan. This next movie you want to watch recently premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival, yet was overshadowed by some seriously disturbing headlines.
Actor James Franco flirting, said it shamelessly, I might add, with a 17-year-old fan.
A rumor that went viral and spread like wildfire. Actor James Franco accused of publicly propositioning a minor on Instagram.
A young fan named Lucy went to see James as he was leaving his Broadway show of Mice and Men. In an Instagram video, he even says hi to her.
You gotta tag me.
The headlines prompted Franco to publicly respond to the allegations the next morning during a previously scheduled television appearance on Live with Kelly and Michael, essentially creating one of national TV's most awkward moments.
You know, I was just feeling awkward. I didn't want to come on the show and just feel awkward.
Franco addressed the headlines and admitted he made a bad mistake.
I used bad judgment and I learned my lesson.
Yet only 24 hours after Franco's Instagram conversation with a 17-year-old minor made headlines, a new viral spin leaked out claiming the entire incident was a big publicity stunt, all in an effort to promote Franco's latest film, Palo Alto. Ironically, the film's premise is about an underage relationship between Franco, a soccer coach, and a high school student played by Emma Roberts.
I think you should play striker. You know, it's a lot of pressure, but you look really good out there.
Thanks.
A few weeks later, Franco's Palo Alto co-star, Emma Roberts, commented on the Instagram incident and told HuffPost Live's Josh Zepps it's irrelevant.
Well, people send it to me. I was like, I don't want to read about this. Like, it's irrelevant, so.
Roberts, who's currently engaged to her American Horror Story co-star, Evan Peters, is no stranger to making controversial headlines. The Hollywood starlet was arrested last year for assaulting her then-boyfriend, Peters. Roberts admitted she instantly regretted the public nature of their hands-on argument. So it's no surprise Roberts publicly dismissed Franco's underage incident.
I honestly didn't read any of it.
Roberts, joined by thousands of Franco fans, quickly moved on to the next scandal and forgot about that silly Franco and his cradle-robbing accusations. He did apologize, right?
I guess, I'm embarrassed.
Most recently, Franco made another attempt to set the record straight on The Howard Stern Show and told Howard in so many words that he did try to initiate an intimate encounter with a 17-year-old Instagram fan, but the girl turned him down.
I was, a gentleman. I said, do you have a boyfriend? And her response was, not when you're around. So that to me sounds like, okay, she's interested.
The day after Franco's interview on Stern, where he admitted he's just trying to meet somebody, J-Dog was up to his old tricks, trolling for fans online. This time he posted a nearly nude selfie in the wee hours of the morning, which were quickly taken down an hour later after he realized the fan comments weren't so positive. Condeezy says, quote, he's not even attractive anymore, looks seedy, end quote. Clara Kim says, quote, this is so disgusting, should be illegal, end quote. Whether the Franco Instagram incident was art imitating life or life imitating art, the incident in the moment didn't seem to affect the cast, who came out to support the Tribeca Film Festival premiere screening of their film, Palo Alto. Franco and friends never addressed the controversial topic. It was all about promoting the film, business as usual.
New York has become my, filmmaking home. It's where all the people I work with on my films are from. It's where I went to film school. And so Tribeca just feels like my hometown fest.
I love that it's New York, and I feel like so many of the most iconic films are in New York, and so I think it's very fitting to have a festival here.
Mr. B is a hottie. Too bad he wants to get it in with April.
No, he doesn't. Why would you say that?
It was 5 years ago that Palo Alto was just an idea Franco put down on paper.
It started as a book. I wrote it when I was in graduate school, and then when I published it, I just naturally thought about adapting it into a film, and I realized that I didn't want to do it myself.
Franco handpicked the director, Francis Ford Coppola's granddaughter, Gia.
I met Gia Coppola through her mom, Jackie Getty, and I saw Gia's photographs, and I just had a really good feeling about it, and I just asked her to do it. It took a while, so 5 years later we're here, but she did a great job.
When I met James, he really wanted to collaborate in some form or another, and he presented me his book with the idea of making it into a feature film, and I was really excited by the opportunity, and I was really interested in kind of reflecting back on those teenage years in my own life, so it was an interesting subject matter for me, and I was just really excited.
I just let her write, first few drafts of the script without any kind of input, and then once she had that, I had her go and shoot a test, and she shot a 45-minute test. Once I saw that test, I knew that she could do it, and so I was pretty hands-off after that.
Franco may have handpicked Gia to direct, but she chose Emma Roberts to star alongside James.
I just used a lot of people that I had access to, and for some reason I kept running into Emma, and it felt right.
In Palo Alto, Roberts, who is 21 years old, plays a virginal 16-year-old high school student that falls for her much older soccer coach, portrayed by Franco.
I'm older, and I know that there aren't a lot of good things around, and I know that you are really good.
Roberts raved Coppola injected a unique style of directing into the film.
Gia and I clicked so well. The movie is very real, and I like that it depicts teenagers in like a real way. The characters aren't like cheesy, and I like that. Gia wasn't scared to like leave silence a lot of times. Like a lot of what the movie's about goes in what isn't said, and I think there's something really interesting about that.
Roberts revealed she especially enjoyed working with Jack Kilmer, Val Kilmer's son.
Jack and I got along so well. I loved the whole cast and the whole crew, and it was really special.
Palo Alto is Jack Kilmer's first acting role, and according to Coppola, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I've known Gia for a while, since actually elementary school. We went to elementary school together. And she was writing the script for Palo Alto, and I would hang out with her and like she'd kind of run some of the lines by me and ask me kind of like what was my experience like as a high school kid, and I auditioned for it and she was really into it.
Jack agrees with Roberts and says there is a very real quality that Gia Coppola brought to each character in the film.
Doesn't really judge the kids too hard, and I think the characters are relatable. Like if you don't relate to those characters, I think everyone knows someone like them.
Actor Nat Wolff plays Fred.
Gia Coppola adapted it into this beautiful script, and I thought all the characters were really flawed, but sympathetic. Even my character, which is kind of the hardest to like, I found strangely charming and sympathetic even in his awfulness, you know?
Try not to hang around Fred.
Dude, you can't be here.
I mean, with this screenplay, I really just responded to the piece as a whole, because, you know, at first I came into the meeting, I said, Gia, like, I don't know if I can play this guy. This really isn't me. Like, I feel more like the other character. And she said, yeah, I want you to find all the opposites of how it's written, you know, to make it a more, you know, full person.
Wolff says Coppola encouraged him to improvise.
I actually play music in the movie. There's one scene where I'm, like, seducing the girl, and Gia just told me, it was an improvised scene, and Gia just told me, hey, just seduce her however you want. I texted her, I was like, can I use a guitar? And she said, yeah, sure. So I just brought a guitar that day and used it, and then I play one of my songs in the movie, and it's on the soundtrack, Rockstar.
Actress Zoe Levin plays the promiscuous one in the group.
I felt like she had a lot of depth to her, and there was more like than met the eye when it came to her character, so I wanted to really bring that to life, and I think Gia was excited about that too.
Palo Alto, starring James Franco and Emma Roberts, hits theaters May 9th.
There's always a reason.
Still to come, Movies You Want to Watch goes one-on-one with a rock and roll legend.
Didn't realize it had slipped so far.
Don't move. Movies You Want to Watch will be right back. When you hit Park City, Utah, the #1 dining destination you can't miss is the River Horse restaurant on Main Street. River Horse has been serving up 5-star eclectic American cuisine since 1987. Signature dishes like the mouth-watering pistachio-encrusted halibut are thanks to executive chef and co-owner Seth Adams.
We try to do the best job we can every day, and we like what we do.
The River Horse is open year-round for lunch and dinner, located at 540 Main Street in the heart of scenic Park City, Utah. Welcome back. I'm Gina Jordan, bringing you movies you want to watch. Here we are at Bowtie Cinemas in Chelsea, Manhattan, and a movie you want to watch, Super Duper Alice Cooper. How'd you get the lead role in this movie?
I know, it was great. I auditioned for it, and I don't know, I just got it.
Sir Cooper attended the Tribeca premiere screening of Super Duper Alice Cooper and watched the film alongside hundreds of fans and loved ones.
These documentary filmmakers have made a great, tasty, wonderful look at the early years through 1986. For me, it's like watching him play Captain Hook, because that's not who he is. You know, he dons the sword and the cape and he goes out and he's that swashbuckling dark villain. Then he takes off the hat, puts the sword away, comes home, and he's my amazing husband.
I love Alice. Always respected the guy and started listening to him from day one.
Super Duper Alice Cooper is a movie you want to watch because it reveals a side of the legendary shock rocker Alice Cooper that most of us have never seen before.
People think of Alice Cooper as a cartoon, but he is actually a very influential figure on 20th century and now into 21st century American cultural life.
The 66-year-old rock legend is best known for those classic rock hits, School's Out and I'm 18.
There'd be no Kiss, there'd be no Marilyn Manson, there'd be no Slipknot, there'd be no Lady Gaga
if it wasn't for Alice Cooper. And I think people tend to forget that he came before all of those performers.
There'd be no punk rock without Alice Cooper. Johnny Rotten lip-synced to I'm 18 at the jukebox when he auditioned for the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, before there was Lady Gaga, there was Alice Cooper, who revealed one of the highlights of his career was working with John Lennon.
Well, John was great. I mean, John was one of those guys. He always wanted me to get into politics. You know, he was very political. So Elected was his favorite song. He says, this is great, man. You know, he said, we can upset this and this. And I'm going, John, I said, I'm not the political guy. I'm the entertainment guy. So him and Harry Nilsson were always trying to get me into politics, and I just wouldn't buy into it. Now, Paul and I were much more into just the musical part.
Did you try to run for mayor?
You know, everybody wanted me to in Arizona, but I didn't have enough indictments to really, you know.
That's true. It gets messy.
Politics is the most
so messy.
Boring thing in the world.
More boring than golf.
Oh, no, golf is, is exciting next to politics.
It's Cooper's onstage antics, the electric chair, the boa, a guillotine, and that infamous chicken that made Cooper an overnight star. Is that the original chicken footage?
Yes.
Is it really?
That's
one of the first
footage. Yeah, and I've never seen it. That was the first time I saw the film.
The film chronicles it all, thanks to never-seen-before archival footage. Everybody that walked out of that film just now said the archival footage is incredible, and it came from your 90-year-old mom. Is that true?
My mom kept everything. She was a hoarder. She still has the band jackets that she made for us when we were in high school.
If it wasn't for his 89-year-old Mama Ella Mae Fournier, this doc may never have been made.
She has all the acetates, from the first records, which are now worth lots of money. But I just keep them. I keep everything.
You keep everything too. Are you sentimental?
I'm not a collector. Really, I'm not. Certain things I'll keep. Certain people that I really like, give me something, I'll keep it. If I have a ring that George Harrison gave me that was, that I'll keep. Those are things that were personal things. But I'm not one of those guys that holds on to things from the old shows. But there's people that just go crazy for that stuff.
Of course
I think Neil's got the original guillotine.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's got one at his house.
Super duper Alice Cooper takes fans on a visual ride through Cooper's struggle to separate Vince and Alice.
It's a unique film. It's a film that's unlike any other music documentary that's been made.
It's the story of a young man who creates a character, and then that character that he creates threatens to take over and nearly kills him. It was such a powerful character, and he gained so much popularity that it threatened to ruin his life, and he didn't know how to make the separation between who he was off stage and on stage.
What did you learn about Alice Cooper that you didn't know before you started making the film?
Well, I think the big reveal was that Alice was very addicted to crack cocaine in the late 70s and early 80s, and that's something he'd never talked about. He decided with Bernie Taupin, his collaborator, that this was the time to kind of tell that story. I think it's been something that's been hanging on Bernie for a long time, and so he said, if I'm going to do this movie, I want to tell the true story of what really happened. So I think Alice just finally decided, okay, it's time to talk about this and bring it out to the open.
He ended up in a sanitarium for his drinking problem, and then when he came out, he was cured briefly, and then got immersed into freebasing and cocaine, and that's where, back in the 70s, I think that was a pretty common thing, and you have, Richard Pryor and all these stories about people that have that didn't make it, and this is a redemptive story. You see this, and eventually with his family and with, it's a religious story too in a way, right? Because he finds God, and that's what brings him out of this.
Fans get a glimpse of Cooper's debilitating alcohol and drug addictions, yet the most interesting part of Cooper is the man he's evolved into today. Cooper is a God-fearing man.
He's the son of a preacher, so he was kind of raised in a Christian household, but then sort of went off and did his own thing and created this baby chopping, guillotine hanging, snake-wearing character that just seems so evil. The thing of it is, he always saw it as Creature from the Black Lagoon, or just a child's horror story. To reconcile that with the Christianity seems so weird to people. The shock rock master of horror with Christianity. But if you think about Jesus hanging off a cross and all that gore dripping from his body, it sort of makes sense.
Both of us being pastors' kids, we knew the truth from an early age, and sometimes you choose to take that truth and maybe not so much go against it, but just sort of carve out your own path. But I think when you come back hard. We have a strong faith, a strong love, and God's been good.
And Alice is happily married to wife Cheryl. You've been married for 38 years?
38 years, yeah. She was 18 when we got married. I was like 27, I think.
The reason we met was I was the first dancer in his show in 1975. I played the ballerina in Welcome to My Nightmare.
He dumped Raquel Welch for you. Is that true?
When you're in love with somebody, you don't see anybody else.
What did you say the first time you saw Alice Cooper?
Honestly, I thought he was the most attractive man I'd ever seen in my life, and I thought, I can't work for him. I mean, he's gorgeous. And slowly we fell in love. And both our fathers ended up as pastors officiating the ceremony, each giving us the vows to say to each other 38 years ago.
Cooper revealed he almost lost Cheryl because of his drug addiction.
We went through everything together, but I mean, it was never, even when we were going to get a divorce, I pulled her aside, went into a room and said, we both know this shouldn't happen, right? And we went, okay, let's call it off.
Do you think every successful relationship goes through a moment where they say, we're going to call this quits?
I think so. I think there's very few that don't have that problem. Now, Cheryl and I never argue. I don't think we've ever had an argument. Neither one of us like conflict at all. But the state that I was in, I was so blind by the whole thing that I didn't really think there was that much wrong, because you're in ecstasy all the time. You're on a high. So you're going, oh, come on, there's nothing wrong. Didn't realize that it slipped so far.
He laid down the alcohol after our firstborn was 1 year old, and in 32 years hasn't touched a thing since.
The Hall of Famer is a loving and dedicated father to 3 children. Sonora, 21, Dashiell, 28, and Calico, 32, is an actress who also performs live with her father on stage.
Calico is with the improv group, the Groundlings, and her mom taught her how to dance. I mean, she's a scholarship ballerina also, and jazz. Calico is the funniest girl in the world, and when she played all the characters on stage, I'd have to look away from her because she would break my character. Every night she'd do something different that would try to make me laugh, and it was during the most dire moments when somebody was going to get their throat slit. But you can imagine, I've got her there, and I've got the knife to her throat and everything, and she's going, are we going shopping tomorrow? And I go, yes, don't worry about it, you know.
She does basically every dancing role and character portrayal, so she fleshes out the nightmarishness. I mean, she brings those lyrics to life. She creates the scene, and daddy-daughter combination, that's hard to beat.
Breaking news, the Coopers are about to become grandpa and grandma.
We just found out we're expecting. Wait, grandparents.
So it's going to be Grandpa Cooper?
You know, Pa and Ma sound really old, so I think we're investigating the Hawaiian names for Grandma and Grandpa, which is Tutu, how perfect for me, right, being a ballerina. But I don't know about Cuckoo. Cuckoo is the Hawaiian name for grandfather. I kid you not, Tutu and Cuckoo.
Another interesting fact about Cuckoo Cooper is that he is the founder of a nonprofit organization, Solid Rock, which offers free services in the arts to local teens in Phoenix. The Coopers host an annual celebrity golf tournament that has raised thousands of dollars to benefit the Rock Teen Center. You've gone through this incredible career on stage, and then somehow you like the peace and quiet and boredom of golfing?
It's not boring at all. But if you think of it this way, I play golf in the morning. It's the first thing I do every morning. And golf and Alice never meet. Alice never gets near a golf course. That night when I put the makeup on and become Alice again, he could care less about golf. He's not thinking about what am I going to play tomorrow. As soon as the show's over, I get back and I go, oh, what we playing tomorrow? Because I go into him pretty strong. He can't afford to think like Vince. He has to think like Alice.
The Cooper clan has no plans to slow down anytime soon. Cuckoo Cooper is gearing up for a worldwide tour with Motley Crue, making stops in Norway, Sweden, and even South Dakota at the Sturgis Buffalo Chip Festival on August 5th, where New York's homegrown rock band Sweet Cyanide will open live for Cooper and the Crue's farewell tour. You're going to be performing this summer in Sturgis, and we know the band Sweet Cyanide that's opening for you guys. Is it exciting for you to still perform?
Oh, are you kidding? I love it. I love it more now than I did then because I know what I'm doing now. I mean, I can actually remember what to do. And I'm in better shape now than I was when I was 30. You know, when I was 25, 30, I was a mess. At 66, I've never been in better shape. I do 2 hours a night, 5 nights a week and feel great.
Super duper Alice Cooper is in theaters right now. That's going to do it for this episode of Movies You Want to Watch. I'm Gina Jordan, signing off from the Cinema Village in Greenwich Village, Manhattan. We look forward to seeing you next time. You know you wanna. This week's Celebrity Selfie Shot is brought to you by LG. Life's good.
Hello, my little children of the night. I'm Alice Cooper. Selfie. I love selfies.
Selfie with Alice Cooper, guys. Here we go.